being competitive, how important is it? That's going to be the topic of today's video. So before introducing this video, go over to infuriated.com, especially if you're an expat or a high net wealth individual. Now, this week I was reading a really fascinating story about Euro 2020. One of the players at Euro 2020, I think he was one of the guys in the Spanish squad, said that Cristiano Ronaldo played him at table tennis. And basically, he beat Ronaldo at table tennis, and he was so kind of angered about this that he actually bought his own table tennis equipment at home, and it never happened again. He was so competitive that even though table tennis isn't his sport, he just wouldn't actually give in, and he wanted to actually win even in that. And that's very interesting, because one of the things I've noticed about most successful people is they're quite competitive. Now, they might show it in different ways. If you look at Messi compared to Ronaldo, Messi doesn't show it in such, I wouldn't say an aggressive way, but he's not so overtly competitive. But I think he is very competitive. Now, Ronaldo is super competitive, and I think is one thing that actually separates him from even other elite sports people. I can remember when I watched him when he was a teenager, early 20s, and actually he was worse than some players who now we don't even consider great players. Yes, he had great talent, but he didn't have the whole package. But it's through that competitive spirit that he got better and better and better, and work ethic combined with being persistent and all those kind of things, along with natural talent, of course. But all those things together, natural talent, work ethic, persistence, being competitive, they all help, I think, not just in sport but in business. My next video is going to be about business, and I think in business being very competitive is important as well. Now, it's true, some people can take it over the top, some people can cheat in ways that are not good, but I don't think the competitive spirit in of itself is a bad thing at all. I can remember when I was at school, a lot of my teachers would tell me, it's the taking part that counts, right? But I was a very competitive kid, right? Even though I wasn't very good academically until later in high school when I got good, I was always interested in sport, and I just really wanted to win, right? And in the egg and spoon race, for example, at school, I would kind of try to trip up some of the competitors. I'm not justifying that for any kids watching my video, but looking back, I think actually it's a positive thing, to be honest with you, because if you're competitive and you have that competitive spirit, once you then become more mature, of course you shouldn't cheat to win at the egg and spoon race, even though it's a bit of fun when you're 8 years old. But I think trying to take the competitive spirit out of kids is actually a very bad thing in the school system. Of course, you don't want people to feel bad when they lose, but whether it's in sport, academia, whether it's in business or whatever, a competitive spirit is good, is part of life. And you know what? Every dog has his day. Just because somebody isn't good in one domain doesn't mean they can't be good in another, and they can't be super competitive in that domain as well. So even people who aren't competitive by nature, I think in certain domains it's always good to be competitive, and it adds a flavor to life as well. If you're going to even do something as an amateur, like play golf, in the week, if you're going to play golf for the weekend with your friends or play table tennis, you could have a bit of a joke with them on WhatsApp saying, I'm going to beat you or whatever. It doesn't have to be a negative word, I think, at all. And I think in some cultures now, people are trying to take the competition out, which is a very negative thing. How can I help you? In two ways. First of all, are you an expat, a high net wealth individual, or just somebody who lives in a part of the world where it's difficult to get access to quality investment solutions? In which case, go onto my website on infuriated.com and find out more. If you don't fit into any of those categories, then in which case there's a range of free material on my website, on this YouTube channel, and indeed on my Quora, where I get over 200 or have received over 231 million views in the last few years. And finally, if you want to actually read my thoughts in more detail, go onto Amazon and find my book on there.